So have you contemplated suicide before?
Yeah, I've survived multiple attempts.
Allie Borowski knows the difference between being alive and living. Are you okay? Are you feeling better now?
I think Find Your Anchor in a lot of ways is me being in a better spot and wanting to kind of pay that forward to others.
What's it feel like to know that you've made that progress?
It's a beautiful place to be.
And now she's helping people like her find their anchor.
Find Your Anchor is a grassroots movement aimed at suicide awareness and prevention. It all kind of manifests itself into this little blue box.
In the box, resources, positive affirmations, sweet nothings to pull you out of the swamp. What is your message to that person who is in the swamp and can't find the way out?
That there is hope, that people care.
So join us on the couch for a real conversation. What have you learned by talking about it?
I would say that I'm not alone, that it's not some wrong feeling or that I'm not by myself in this.
This is 30 Minutes with Allie Borowski. Allie Borowski, welcome to 30 Minutes with.
Thank you for having me.
Yeah. Who is Allie? Who is she? What do you do?
So I see you're starting with the hardest question first.
Exactly. Unpack yourself for me. Yeah.
Graphic designer, rugby player, born and raised in Philly.
Okay.
Lived in Chicago for about 7 years now.
Okay.
I'm the design lead for the NHL Winter Classic and Stadium Series, but my true passion is in Find Your Anchor, which I created in December 2012.
So like when we see that giant guitar on the ice in like Busch Stadium, that's you.
That's me, yeah.
That's all you. What has design taught you about life?
I would say to be able to communicate in ways that speak to you.
Okay.
If what you want doesn't exist, then create it. And being able to be in a position to create something like that.
What has rugby taught you about life?
Quite a few things. I actually made this working document of life lessons learned through rugby, and a few that really stick out is that it's okay to get hit. It's learning how to fall and land. Another one that really sticks out to me is a step in any direction counts, even if it's not necessarily forward. I think
progress is rarely a straight line.
Exactly. Yeah. And I think we get stuck in this notion that we always have to be moving forward, and it's a step, whether it's backwards or to the left, that it's when we stop moving is when we're really stuck and stagnant. So it's just creating, new grooves.
Right. I know you can't tell by my body type, but like, she's played some team sports in the day. And I think one thing that I do value is it does teach you how to collaborate. And because it is hyper communication when you're on any field or court or whatever you're doing. What lessons have you learned from your teammates? What have they taught you?
I think teammates have taught me you can't do it by yourself. And one of the positions that I've kind of fallen into in rugby is I set my teammates up to score. And there's something really great about that last offload that they can basically just walk right in. It feels amazing to kind of see that reward and feel that for them.
Are there any parallels in that in how you decided to establish Find Your Anchor?
I think definitely. I think the setting up to score is even just listening or texting and asking if you're okay or do you need to talk about anything. Just opening that line of communication is almost like setting someone up for that help.
What compelled you to work and help out when it comes to suicide prevention?
It's always been a cause very near and dear to my heart, and everything that I personally encountered with anything like brochures or anything was just so sterile and very hospital brochure-y. And it just felt like I was just another statistic. It was just a number. And I really wanted something that spoke to the person holding the box. Someone opens it and says, someone really cared to make this for me. So wanting to kind of pay that forward.
Did you ever pick up those brochures for your own self-help?
Yep, absolutely.
So have you contemplated suicide before?
Yeah, I've survived multiple attempts.
Are you okay? Are you feeling better now?
Yeah, no, I'm in a really great spot. And I think Find Your Anchor in a lot of ways is me being in a better spot and wanting to kind of pay that forward to others.
What's it feel like to know that you've made that progress?
It's amazing, and it feels It's an interesting place to be, because if I were to say what I would want to say now to myself, 4 years ago, I would be like, shut up, I don't want to hear this. Exactly,
Right.
exactly. And it's really just trusting it, the moment you kind of let it go, things really come into your life and work out in incredible ways. It's a beautiful place to be, and I want to help show others that it's possible.
And you're smiling too.
Right? Yeah. I'm in a beautiful place.
Is this still something you have to tell yourself every day of?
There was definitely a catalyst of a moment when I was in the hospital after my last attempt in 2016, and I was writing. I'm in the process of writing a book, and there was just this moment where I want to be okay. Like I don't want to be defined by a DSM description. I refuse to be defined by a pharmacy prescription. And that moment just sparking something, and this isn't the life that I want to live. There is more to this, and really holding on to the fact that, or this idea that anchors are everywhere. You just have to start looking, and kind of taking my own advice. For the longest time, I mentioned I started this in 2012, and my last attempt was in 2016.
Right.
So this feeling of being a hypocrite at times, and how can I preach all of this stuff, or how can I say it's okay or people care when I can't even take my own advice, was hard and struggling. But being removed now, it's just driving kind of all of that home.
What put you in that place? I guess, were there certain drivers that you look back on now, or certain behaviors or certain thoughts that you now know are categorically false?
Yeah, there was a blanket statement that no one would care, and that was just this core belief that I really felt, and that felt true, that I've since kind of seen how that was distorted or just wrong. I was surrounding myself with a lot of toxic people, and a lot of that came with trying to apply logic where it simply did not live. Mm-hmm. And I just wanted there to be an explanation for whatever behavior, and not just accepting that there was no logic there. Depression is always something that I've struggled with my whole life, I would say, and I've always kind of described it as a swamp. And I would go into this swamp, and it's nasty. It's gross, but it was my swamp. I knew where all the corners were, all the bogs and marshes, but to be able to kind of uproot and leave the swamp felt like so big of an unknown that I would just kind of wrap myself in it. And it's what I knew for so long, that to not have it.
Which is hard to do. Mm-hmm. I think the closest I can relate to suicide is like getting that call, mm-hmm. Of someone who attempted, and being put in that place is like I'm like tearing up thinking about it, because it's terrifying, mm-hmm. and it's scary. What is your message to that person who is in the swamp and can't find the way out?
That there is hope, that people care, that there are people all over the country waiting to listen to, if you pick up your phone, that want to hear your voice, want to talk to you, that you would be missed, that there's definitely a place in society that everyone kind of fills, and that we would feel that shift if mm-hmm. they were gone.
And that's what Find Your Anchor is all about, mm-hmm. is getting you in touch with, one, those positive vibes, mm-hmm. and two, those people,
yep.
right?
Yep.
Okay.
Yeah, and it's just the idea that an anchor is anything that someone can hold on to, even just for a day or for a minute. Mm-hmm. It doesn't have to be earth-shattering or groundbreaking. It can be a smile from a stranger. It can be a crispy egg roll. It can change every day or minute by minute.
If you give me a crispy egg roll, you're gonna get a smile.
Whoever, yeah,
exactly.
The person who gave you the egg roll, yeah, is a new
exactly.
friend.
Well, when we get back from the break, we are going to talk more about Find Your Anchor and the things they're doing for suicide prevention. We'll be right back. Welcome back to 30 Minutes with Everyone. We are with Ali Borowski, Find Your Anchor. here it is. Here are some anchors among us right now. So first, just again, off the top, tell us what Find Your Anchor is.
Find Your Anchor is a grassroots movement aimed at suicide awareness and prevention. It all kind of manifests itself into this little blue box. They're planted organically all throughout the country. People can become messengers or request boxes for themselves.
When you say planted organically, what does that mean?
They're left in self-help sections of the library,
Okay.
bus stations, the 14th floor of the Flamingo in Vegas.
Hey.
Literally like cafes, ice cream shops, everywhere and anywhere.
Some guerrilla marketing. I like
Absolutely.
that. So what or who is an anchor?
An anchor can be anything. It can be, again, something small, a smile from a stranger, a fresh pack of markers, anything that someone can hold on to just to get them through.
Can you describe what that does feel like when you are in the swamp and down in the dumps? Just what a kind gesture from a stranger can do.
Yeah, it really takes that person, or myself, out of the swamp for a few minutes. It's a distraction, and it's like a reminder that a fully functioning life without the swamp and the depression is possible. And it's a reminder and like an inspiration, I guess, to keep kind of going. It feels good. It feels like people care, and those little things go so far, because in the depression, it's so easy to make something out of nothing and to really grow or catastrophize something. So even something little can be grown into something really beautiful and monumental in those moments.
It's told to us as children, you never know what someone's going through, just be kind to everyone. What's it like to walk down the street and not have people know, like, the internal hell you're in?
It's hard. It's really hard. There's this line in, I wrote a slam poem, it's like, the world can feel me fading, yet no one seems to see. And it's like, people are like getting all of the signs, and they're sensing that I'm checked out or whatever. So even when it's right in front of them and they're still not seeing, it's gut-wrenching, because if I were to be able to have that strength in that moment to be able to say I need help, or hey, I'm not okay right now,
Yeah.
I would have said it. So it's so important for people to almost call others out on it. I think one of the biggest misconceptions with suicide is that if someone asks, then they think they're going to put it in their head, and that couldn't be furthest from the truth. I know for myself, it was always there. That thought never went away. So don't leave them alone with it, because they're thinking about it. And don't leave them alone with that thought.
So what's in the box? Can we unpack this together?
Yeah, absolutely. Okay. So you're walking down the street, you see this little blue box.
Look out for the anchor, everyone.
Look out for the anchor.
Okay.
You open the lid, it says if you're feeling lost, hopeless, suicidal, this is for you. If not, leave it for someone else in need. And then there's a little intro note, a deck of cards, 52 plus reasons to live, a patch, bracelet.
Yeah.
There's an infographic on depression. There's a list of resources, 2 copies, a long letter, some posters, and cards. And the idea is that people can add to it things that helped them, whether it's lyrics, a phone number, pictures. And when they're in a better spot, they can leave it for someone else in need. Almost like a rite of passage of, I'm in a better place, I'm gonna pass this one on. Yeah.
Kind of. What helps you?
These boxes, in a lot of ways, are my anchor in passing this on. They're all handmade. They're made right here. So each box that I leave into the world, I feel like a pull when I'm walking away from it. These are very much, I'm leaving a part of me with them.
And I mean, did you come up with everything that's inside of these? Like this is all your concept?
Everything. It's all my photography. It's all my design. I wrote all the copy.
And so just like going through the deck of, it's 52 Reasons to Live, got Snow Days, Lazy Sundays, Endless Possibilities. I feel like that's a good one. Is there one in here that really sticks out to you?
An Unexpected Friend is one that really sticks out to me, because there have been just several instances where people have come into my life that I wasn't expecting and that have changed my world. But I feel like in overarching, the card messages are just of that anchors are everywhere and they can change constantly.
And that it's not necessarily a person.
Exactly.
It could be game night or halftime.
Something not even tangible, like the summer air.
Like sweet nothings. What's a sweet nothing that you cling to?
I think even something as simple as empathy or encouragement, and the box, hopefully inspiration. Just different things that people can kind of hold on to that excite people or just give them some more energy for another tomorrow.
What have you found is the best way to generate empathy?
That's a good one. I would say flipping the script and kind of putting yourself or someone very close to you in that position, and just kind of stepping back with a little compassion and realizing that where it's coming from.
I'm sure it's not something you share out in the open, like, hey, I've attempted suicide before. But was there any reaction that after you did tell someone that like really flipped their script and their worldview and what they could have done to help?
Yeah, I think a prime example was when I was in the hospital after my last attempt. I hadn't told my mom yet, and I did not want to tell my mom. I was putting off. I would have not told her if I, could have found a way around it, and wasn't giving her the opportunity to have a reaction or surprise me in a way. And so I was already closed off to it and already made up my mind of how she was going to react. And then being able to come to a spot and give her that opportunity, and she surprised me completely. She was incredibly supportive, and she was wonderful. So it's giving people the opportunity to do that.
What is that like? To like tell people you love and care about you, that at one point it wasn't enough.
It's hard. I felt guilty. The guilt was, I think, a big part in not wanting to share that and wanting to hurt them, because there's nothing they could have done in that moment. It was hindsight, so allowing them in, because I kept them at arm's distance, so allowing them in to be there with me.
Would you say you do that now? Are you much more upfront with your emotions and feelings?
Yeah, I would say so.
You're like, ask my girlfriend.
Right? Yeah, seriously.
Stick around, you guys. We're going to unpack more of Find Your Anchor when we get back from the break. Welcome back to 30 Minutes with everyone. We are with Allie Borowski of Find Your Anchor. And unfortunately, suicide is very prevalent in the news. It's on the rise. And when you think of like Anthony Bourdain or Kate Spade, like it really did trigger the nation into kind of talking about it a little bit more. When you see headlines like that, and kind of a whole country that's like shaken, what goes through your head as someone who knows exactly what they were feeling, and especially seeing people who are so successful still have those feelings that you have too?
I mean, it's gut-wrenching. It's heartbreaking any time you see it. It's interesting because when you say trigger, it does trigger a lot of people in talking about it, but I think another side of it that a lot of people don't see is how it triggers people who have attempted or triggers people who have been affected by suicide, and kind of holding them a little bit closer, because it does bring up a lot of stuff for each person who's been touched by it. I want to get the boxes just more into more people's hands, and I wish that our reach was broader, just because it's something unbelievable, like over 120 suicides per day, and that's not celebrities, it's friends and family.
It's people who don't get a headline.
It's people without a headline, and yes, it's important that these stories do bring light, but realizing that it's every day. So I just want more boxes into the world and to be into more hands.
How can people help?
I think the organicness of this movement is so powerful, that becoming messengers is the best way to become involved. So if you know of a great place you want to leave a box with an organization, or just a place you want to leave it, if you know someone struggling, it's place in hands and done. Really just becoming a messenger and requesting boxes. We operate on pretty much a shoestring of budgets. My dad, bless his heart, his recurring $10 PayPal a month donation.
It's helping out.
It's helping out.
Is there a website we could check out?
Yeah, findyouranchor.us.
Okay.
Us, because we're not in it alone. So, yeah, every little bit helps.
What have you learned by talking about it?
I would say that I'm not alone. That it's not some wrong feeling, or that I'm not by myself in this, and that in talking about it, it lets other people in, and it's so easy to shut out the world when you're in that. So allowing that light in.
How has your life changed since 2016?
In unbelievable ways. Find Your Anchor has grown unbelievably. There are currently 342 boxes out into the world. I am in such a beautiful space. I have a wonderful girlfriend, 2 great cats, a beautiful home. I don't worry every day if I'm going to see another day. I'm not worrying when this swamp's gonna creep in.
Which is a weight to carry around.
It really is. It really is. And I can breathe. I'm excited to share my story, and I'm excited for tomorrow, which is not something that I could have always said.
What about the people in your life? How have they changed?
I've weeded out the bad ones. It's really got rid of, taking a hard look at the toxicity that I was surrounded, and just kind of pulling it out one by one.
What's your goal in all of this?
Well, with Find Your Anchor, it's just more boxes into the world, just to reach more people. If we're dreaming big, I would love to get a box on every college campus, and a box into every community library. We've currently started partnering with the American Association of Suicidology. Just spoke in Washington, D.C., and I'm going to be speaking soon in New York. But we're talking about getting a box also into the hands of every member of Congress. So just more out in the world to start making some changes.
Well, one, congrats on the success of this.
Thank you.
Thank you so much for doing what you do.
Thank you.
I have very much valued this conversation and value your life. I really do. It's beautiful, and thank you for being honest, because I know this is not an easy topic.
Thank you. Thank you for sharing it.